Hello, my name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and you guys are listening to an interview being done tonight for Under Influence. My great pleasure to be speaking with lead singer and bass player Luis Reyes from the Las Vegas Kiss tribute band Sin City Kiss. And of course, around Las Vegas, you're also known as Las Vegas Gene Simmons, and we'll get into that a little bit. First time I interviewed you, Luis, was a little over 2 years ago, back in 2013. It's great to be talking to you again. And you're sharing with me the other day that your favorite Kiss album of all time is Kiss Alive. So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit detail. So why don't we start the interview with you sharing with us how you why that album had such a huge impact on you?
Great. Thank you, Jason. Great to speak with you again. I think that Kiss Alive album really did it for me as a young man growing up. You know, my friends, we got a hold of that album and we just enjoyed it, blew our socks off, you know, as young kids listening to this. And of course the makeup and everything else was just off the charts.
Yeah.
And so it just gripped us and just kept us going as kids. You know, as rebellious little kids, we had to have something to hang on to, and that was nice for us, you know. And so it worked out nice for us. We loved it.
And now you were sharing with me too when we were speaking earlier the fact that you were aware of Kiss and you were a bit of a Kiss fan already, but until 1975 when the Kiss Alive album came out, you know, that's really what did it for you. I mean, you know, when you go back and you remember hearing some of those earlier songs, you know, from the first three albums, why do you think it took Alive to really get people to take notice of Kiss?
Well, of course, I didn't know it at the time, you know. Growing up, you don't know these things much, but it was the first live album produced by a major band, and it was a double album, and that gave you a lot of music, so it was like really hearing a whole concert rather than just a couple of live tracks. And so the idea that it was so huge, and you got to experience like being there at a whole concert, it was great. It was just fantastic. And so as a kid, we enjoyed that very much. And then, of course, we had to go find the original albums, which at the time was sold as a 3-pack called The Originals. And so we picked that up and got to hear the songs in the studio version, which was really good. But they were so different from the live version. The live really just was impactful, you know, just really gave it life. And so I think it was timely, you know, and I think it was really hit the mark for a lot of people. I mean, for the majority of people, really, to think about it.
Yeah, and you know, the amazing thing is if you listen to the original version of Rock and Roll All Night off of Dressed to Kill, when that album was released, you know, that song, although it was popular on the radio, it wasn't really a big hit until they released the live version, you know, the same year, a couple months later, off of Live.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's just like so many of those songs that are on their live album, they sound, it just really gives it life to hear it on the live. And it sounds so studio and so dry on the recording and the original albums, you know, there's a big difference. But Rock and Roll Empire every day became everything that it was hoping to be. And it really took the live cut to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, because, you know, even when you go see Kiss now in concert, I mean, that's one of those tracks they have to play, and it's almost they almost close it with every show. You know, usually it's towards the end of a show, and and the thing about it is, you know, it's a great way to end up a show. And you know, when you, especially you know, in your case, like if you heard the live version for the first time, you know, it's almost like I remember when I put on Kiss Alive for the first time, and I was into the show. It's like, man, these guys sound so great live. It makes me want to go see them in concert, and that's, I think, the purpose that album served. And you know, if you didn't already see Kiss, you wanted to at that point. Go, okay, next time they come to town, I'm going to go see them.
Yeah, no doubt. I was reading one of the promoters at the time was saying, you know, we have to put out a live album because it's night and day, and people, when they go to see you as a Kiss, it's so visual, it's so impactful that no album is going to capture that. No studio recorded album is going to capture that you know, impact that a live album will try to do. So that was a real calculated move on their part, I understand. And so that's why they thought to put it out.
And you know, the greatest comparison that I can make to Kiss Alive, one is Cheap Trick's live at Budokan. I mean, again, for anybody that's heard the original version of I Want You to Want Me, it sounds nothing like the version that's on Budokan. They almost sound like two different songs. If you ever hear the original studio version, it almost sounds like a kind of like a country song.
That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah.
Good point. And that happens too with Frampton when Frampton came alive.
Yeah.
Comes alive. It's kind of the same thing. You listen to the original track and it's slower and it sounds odd, a bit odd when you're used to the live album. That's the same thing happened with Frampton. Frampton Comes Alive.
Oh yeah.
I saw him at the Midnight Special, and of course I had to, seek out the live album when I heard it was out. So,
yeah. And Frampton's interesting too, because he was in Humble Pie actually, before he had that big hit with Frampton Comes Alive. But it was that album that people remember him from. And I remember a couple years ago that he'd recorded a DVD trying to recreate the whole Frampton Comes Alive experience, and people still want to experience that. But I really think you could never match the original, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And I know when we put on concerts, what we try to do, and this is why I tell you guys, is that we're standing still, we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
So that's the whole package with the kids concert that we try real hard at Symphony Kids to try to do too. Is to give people a good show and have them leave with a smile on their face.
Yeah.
So it all works out to the same,
Yeah, and this may sound.
I think really, if you think about it, kids set the high mark.
Yeah.
For people to have a live show, and I don't think it's been eclipsed yet.
Yeah, I mean, this may sound like a silly question, Louis, but when you first remember seeing that Kiss Alive album for the first time, looking at the album cover, did you have any ideas that those were the guys, in the band, or did you think they were like monsters or something like that?
Well, it was wild, and I remember looking at them and thinking, how in the world can they put out this quality of music?
Yeah.
And be that strange looking, that odd, be that those characters.
Yeah.
So it was hard for me to match the music quality with the people, with what I was watching and seeing on the album cover.
Yeah.
And so I think that was part of the biggest attraction too, is to realize that these are the people putting out this music, and look at what they can accomplish on stage as well. How cool is that? Yeah,
and now let me ask you. So once you got your hands on Kiss Alive, the album, how much longer after that was it that you saw Kiss in concert for the very first time?
Oh, I tell you what, it was a long time.
Yeah.
It actually wasn't until the reunion tour, to be honest with you.
Wow.
At the time, I did have $17 when Kiss came to Albuquerque, on their first tour. I think it was the very first part of the Destroyer tour.
Yeah.
And I didn't have $17 to go to the concert. All my friends did. I thought, why didn't I just collect Coke bottles?
Yeah.
So I kicked myself in the butt for that forever, and that would have been my very first time. That would have been 1976.
Wow.
It wasn't until the reunion tour that I actually got to see them live.
Yeah, and what a Destroyer too. What a great album that was, and I'd imagine that's right when they're at the pinnacle. So what was your experience? On that Destroyer tour, seeing them for the very first time. Talk a little bit about that. What that was like, because I would imagine it's one thing to play the record, but then to go to the concert and see what they're all about visually, especially for the very first time, that must have been the ultimate experience.
Well, like I said, I didn't go because I didn't have the $17 as a kid.
Okay.
All my friends did, and so I had to live it through their eyes and through their experience. So I said, okay, tell me every single thing
wow.
you saw. I want to know every single thing that you were thinking when you saw this, and it was just an amazing, impactful event in their lives, of course, and I lived vicariously through their memories.
Wow.
It was an amazing time for us, really, it really was. And then not long after that was the very first time that I put on the Gene Simmons makeup as a 16-year-old kid.
Well, okay, so how old were you at the time when you, as you said, got dressed up as Gene Simmons for the very first time? And was that something you did, like just dressing up for Halloween, or was that at the point when you started?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's right. I was a 16-year-old kid with my chums in neighborhood friends there, and we would go to we would visit every weekend we go to the skate ranch because that's what we did as a kid back then. And so we would actually rule the place. That was our place. You know? And so Halloween was coming up, and there was a costume contest. We decided to make our own little costumes out of cardboard and everything else, you know, to dress up like kids and put on the makeup for the first time. And we went to the skate ranch, and of course we won first place. And it was a great time when we took our winnings, our first prize winnings of $50, and blew it all at McDonald's.
Wow.
We were living large. We were loving it. And that was the first time. The next time was the following weekend. We dressed up as kids again and went to the mall, the neighborhood mall. Of course, we would visit there on, you know, every weekend as well. And I took a can of butane and loaded my mouth up with it and got the big lighter and blew fireballs. And of course, we got kicked out of the mall for blowing fireballs.
Yeah.
And so we were legends, you know.
Yeah.
We had the best time, and it was really fun, and it was just a great time to grow up and be great functions and rebellious and be like Kiss.
Well, yeah. Let me ask you, doing stuff like that, you know, getting dressed up, you know, as Gene for the very first time. And of course, you and your buddies know that this is Gene Simmons, you know, the lead singer and bass player from your favorite band, Kiss. But what were the looks you guys must have got? I mean, people like, what are they dressing up as? What is this? You know?
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
That's, back then, you know, Kiss wasn't as well known as they are now.
Yeah.
And it was wild. People didn't understand anything about that. And of course, now when I dress up, I do a lot of different events.
Yeah.
Here in Las Vegas as well as with the band. I get approached by a lot of different people here in Las Vegas. You know, all roads lead to Vegas, so you have all these international people coming to Las Vegas, and in different broken up English accents and so forth. They recognize Gene Simmons as being the Gene Simmons makeup, and it's all Kiss, you know. And every language, every walk of life, people know who Kiss is now.
And you know what's funny is like I'm a fan of, you know, anything, you know, even Kiss related or of all the guys, but Gene has always been my favorite member, and I think it's because, you know, if you look at all the characters, you know, he's got the greatest I guess design, you know, kind of character, and of all of them, to me really, he's the one you really notice right away. He's the one that really stands out, and I think that's why he's always been a favorite among, you know, Kiss fans.
Yeah, that's true, and I think that's probably why I gravitated towards him. I think I dressed up as Gene.
Yeah.
I think we decided that I would dress up as Gene because my friends wanted to be the other member.
Yeah.
I thought, no, I like this guy. I want to be this guy. You know, and so that's weird how that all worked out in real life. You know, and in today's life, that's really something that's fun. But Gene is a great character. He's a great character.
Yeah, you know, and you know, at this time in, you know, 2015 that we're talking, Kiss has got, you know, 40 years behind them at this point, so they're a well-oiled machine. The guys are really experienced doing what they do, obviously. But I heard, you know, back in the day when they were first just starting out, that's why, you know, Gene was the guy that started breathing the fire and sticking his tongue out. And I heard Paul, you know, would always like get mad at him back in the day, like, "What are you doing, man? What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, you know, I want to be in the camera too." And he's like, and Gene would tell him, well, then, you know, you find something to make yourself stick out. So I think even going back, you know, 40 years ago, these guys were very smart in, you know, marketing themselves and, you know, doing what they had to get to the, you know, get themselves in the front of the pictures and all that.
Yeah, that's true. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of that still happens today.
Yeah.
A little rivalry, a pitching rivalry goes on today, and I bet it does. I know that when I talk to my guys, you know, on stage, I let them know, you know, hey, look, when I am singing, I want other people to not only look at me, but I want them looking at you, so you guys be as wild and Kiss-like as possible, so that you steal the attention away from me, because I'm going to be doing it to you, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the whole Kiss show. That's the whole idea. You're just not standing back and standing still while someone's doing the lead singing and hanging out there. You know, that's not it. That's not a Kiss show.
And let me.
That's not a Kiss show either. So
let me.
I tell them, you know, get out there and go get them, because I'm gonna steal your attention. Knowing that, I bet you that rivalry still happens with Gene and Paul today.
And let me ask you, Louis, because, you know, again, looking at these pictures on your Facebook page, you really, you know, if I didn't know any better, you know, of course you play in Sin City Kiss, which is a Kiss tribute. We're not trying to fool anybody here. It's all in the name of fun. But I imagine, walking around Las Vegas like you do, you probably, have been mistaken for a man, because, I mean, you look a lot, even in makeup, you really look like Gene Simmons. So, have you ever been mistaken for a man, or people come up to you thinking you're him?
Oh, yeah, it happens quite a bit. And how lucky is that?
Yeah.
How crazy to have something that awesome happen to you. It's incredibly fun, and it's nice, and it'd be nice if I shared his bank account.
Yeah. And so, let me ask you. So, again, going back to 1975, when we got Kiss Alive in your hand for the very first time, and I guess you said you hadn't really seen the band live until the reunion tour. So, being a Kiss fan all those years, and then finally seeing the guys, when they reunited, what was that experience like? I mean, did it live up to everything you thought it would be?
Oh, yeah. And, of course, along the way growing up, you see some videos, that were coming out. Of course, MTV showed you some videos, too, as it was happening.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like today.
Yeah.
So you saw different stuff along the way, and then they took off the makeup, and they went through the whole transition, and I'm not sure I like this.
Yeah.
And then they went through all the other band meetings that they did, and then they had Unplugged. They came out with Unplugged. Unplugged for me was amazing.
Yeah.
It drew me back to the idea that they're super talented. I mean, you can't hide behind electronics and effects, and it was just a superb DVD now and LP, and so it was awesome to me, and it really brought me back. So I loved it, and when they announced the reunion, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to get a chance to actually see it. This was going to be great.
Yeah.
And I was anticipating seeing them, and then when I actually did, it was everything that I had hoped it would be. The pyro, the effects, the videos, their largeness on stage, and the sound was huge, and it was great. It was mind-blowing in the best way. I had the best time. I bet I had a smile on my face the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, I
just loved everything.
I mean, I seen them too on the reunion tour, and let me tell you, I mean, it was great, because up until that point, like you, I'd seen videos and stuff, and I'd actually seen the Kiss with Bruce and Eric Carr, and even on the Revenge tour. So I'd seen the band live a couple times, but to see them in makeup, it took me to another level, and it was like, and even the amazing thing is, the costumes and everything on that reunion tour. I mean, you'd almost swear it was 1975 all over again. They really did a great job of recreating that, that era.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was like I hadn't missed much,
Yeah.
It was a more mature band up there on stage and during the music tour, but it was because it had the Destroyer suits all over again.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is great. It's like I can enjoy them fully with a better understanding than I would have as a kid, And I soaked all in. I loved it. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, and you're mentioning Kiss Unplugged. That was one of my favorite albums too that they put out. Now let me ask you, correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I'd read on your Facebook page that you went to the San Bernardino show they had last week and seen them do an Unplugged show. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we got there and enjoyed it. It was great. It was really akin to the Unplugged as far as the set list goes, and they had some real obscure tunes, and it was great. And for me, it was fantastic because, like I said, when Unplugged came out, that was really gripping to me, and so I to be able to see them in an acoustic setting, which I hadn't yet, that was something I was really looking forward to. And it was great. It was fun. They were jovial on stage. They weren't as serious as Kiss is and as scripted as Kiss is and this live show, with full makeup on. And so it was nice. And that's good because what I had done here locally with our band, Sin City Kiss, I developed a kind of a different project. We called it we're not Kiss Friends. We called it See You Tonight, where we would dress up in Kiss makeup, put on suits, sit in some high chairs, and play the acoustic set, pretty much the Unplugged acoustic set. And that's really fun. That is really fun. And to actually sit still on a stool, it was really hard. But it turned out to be nice. It's a nice project that we do. It's a side thing that we do. So we emulated Unplugged before I even got a chance to play Unplugged.
Yeah, that's
so it was really nice for me. So I
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that, because that's the next question I was going to ask. Is I remember shortly after I interviewed you the last time, I'd seen something on the Facebook about See You Tonight, and I was going to interview you at the time, and for some reason or other it kind of fell through. But so that's still something you do from time to time, huh?
Yeah, sure is. We get called for now and again for elegant events or some really more leisurely events instead of something so high intensity like our Sin City Kiss show, and it works out great. We're able to mingle with a whole different crowd and fit in. As oddly as that sounds, in full Kiss makeup, but actually entertain people in an environment that they can appreciate and enjoy with the volume that they can relax at. That's a fun little thing to do.
And let me ask you, what was that like? Going from doing like the full blown on, electrical show of it, with all the bombs and everything that you guys, do, compared to like the unplugged thing, because it must be quite a different, experience.
Yeah, it really is. It's night and day.
Yeah.
But you are still, you're still performing at high levels. You're still producing a high quality product.
Yeah.
So it's different, but it's excellent at the same time.
Yeah, because I can tell you, like the Kiss show you just went to, last week. I would love it if they would put that out, even like on a DVD or a CD. I don't know that they will, because like we said, they already have Kiss Unplugged released. But it'd be a cool thing, because I'm sure it's a different set of songs. And now I was curious, like when you do it, do you kind of do you guys perform kind of a more obscure tunes like Kiss does, or do you kind of stick to what you guys typically do, but just do different acoustic versions?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I tell you what, there are songs we just can't do on acoustic.
Yeah.
Like Paul Stanley this last week, he was jokingly telling the same thing. He said there's some songs you just can't do on acoustic. It doesn't apply. For instance, Love Gun, and he started singing Love Gun in this lounge type mode, and the band started kicking in and going along with it. And it was a riot, is what it was. And he realized it, and we realized too, that there's some songs you just can't do acoustically, because it doesn't sound right, it doesn't feel right, it doesn't fly. So what we did is we did the plugged set list first, and then we threw in a few songs that could be played acoustically and still get by with. So we did Going Blind and all these obscure tunes and Forever on our acoustic unplugged set at See You Tonight. And it works lovely. It's a fun experience.
Yeah, because I'll tell you, one of my favorite experiences seeing Kiss live was back in 1995 when they did that convention tour. They were playing these much smaller theaters, but they're very intimate. And the one I went to see was actually the one in L.A. where Peter Criss got up and played with them on two songs, like Nothing to Lose, and I think Hard Luck Woman.
Fantastic. Yeah, you were there for that, huh?
Yeah, it was. What I loved about it is, as many times as I've seen Kiss, like we're saying, they did stuff like A World Without Heroes, stuff you never hear them play. Shandy, Christine 16, acoustic. I mean, how cool is that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then
we did those songs too, and it was a challenge to learn those songs and play them and sing them, and not be able to hide behind volume, And so it was a real challenge, but we got into the groove and we figured it out. And we made it work, and it's fun. It really is fun.
Yeah.
I remember seeing those videos of the expos, and they were doing the acoustic stuff. I had thought, man, it would be great to see that.
Yeah.
And then they started doing the Kiss cruises where they incorporated that on the deck, as they head out. And I thought, wow, it'd be so great to see that. So I'd always, wanted to see them unplugged. And then in San Bernardino last year, they did that very same thing, unplugged. But I missed the opportunity to go see them then. Luckily, I got a chance to see them this year, and it was a blast. It really was.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, how cool that. Now let me ask you, Louis, and doing what you do is with Sin City Kiss and Las Vegas Gene Simmons. Have you ever met any of the Kiss guys, or had that opportunity ever presented itself yet?
Oh yeah, sure has. We're fortunate enough to be associated with Kiss by by Monster Mini Golf here in town, and Kiss Limousine Company here in town. So when Kiss Monster Mini Golf first opened, their grand opening, they had all of Kiss there. They had Gene and Paul and Eric and Tommy there, and we had an opportunity to shake their hands, and kind of just have a couple of small words with them, half a sentence with them, something like this, and took pictures with them, and those are some of the cherished pictures that I put up on Facebook that I have on my pages and everything, and it was a fun time. So they got to understand what Kiss by Monster Mini Golf is doing here in Las Vegas, and that there are impersonators here, and that we are actually busy and incorporating ourselves into working at the establishments, in that we perform wedding ceremonies and vow renewals at the Kiss by Monster Mini Golf's wedding chapel. They call it the Hotter Than Hell Wedding Chapel. And so we're in there doing our thing, and as Kiss members, and what a riot that is. It's just totally fun. So now and again, Kiss is invited back to the Kiss Monster Mini Golf for events or different items and different promotional deals that are going on there. We get invited, luckily, to go meet them and say hi again, and shake their hands, and buy a book at the book signings and that type of deal. So it's fun. It's fun. It really is an honor, and it really is wild, because you don't know what to say,
Yeah.
You think of all these things you could say, and all these things you would want to say, but really when it gets down to it, what kind of opportunity do you have to really converse?
Yeah.
What are you really talking about?
But so I take it the band must kind of endorse you guys in the sense that they haven't stopped you guys from doing what you do, obviously, because they must approve. But I mean, it's kind of interesting, because I interviewed a guy that's he pays tribute to like Sammy Hagar or Van Halen, and he said he actually got a chance to meet Sammy, and Sammy came up to him, shook his hand, and said, "Oh wow, man, it's great to finally meet myself," But he said he was totally a cool guy, and yeah. I mean, that must be strange for these guys, especially like Gene coming up and, meeting you like, "Hey, man, you look just like me." That's got to be kind of an odd thing for them. But so they're totally into what you guys are doing, I guess, then, huh?
I would think so. There's been history bands, for decades, really, and they have a segment on their KissOnline.com page where it's dedicated to Kiss tribute bands. So they recognize and honor and can enjoy the Kiss tribute bands. So that's really how fortunate is that, really, when you get right down to it.
Yeah.
And they obviously know what we're doing, what's happening here. And when they came to town last year, they had a residency at the Hard Rock Cafe. At the same time they had the residency, I scheduled a residency for Sin City Kiss at Circus Circus, but I made sure that it started after Kiss's concert was done.
Oh, that's smart on your part. Wow. Yeah. Oh.
And so hopefully all things are good and respectful, and they appreciate us paying homage to them and trying to do the best we can to encourage and live happy Kiss experience for long forever.
Yeah, and let me ask you now, Sin City Kiss, like you're saying, last year you guys had a residency, but I guess you're quite busy there in Las Vegas, so you just pretty much play around the Las Vegas area? That's where you guys get the bulk of your business?
Yeah, this is where we are. This is our home base.
Yeah.
We've become very popular in town, and it's really fun, and we get a lot of great bands, and we have a great time with them and enjoy hanging out with them and being friends. And so we started reaching out to different states now, Colorado, and different states, Phoenix and New Mexico, and different places that we go to. And we're starting to get known elsewhere, which is great. Of course, on Facebook and all this international media, we're known all over the world. When people come in to do weddings at the Kiss by Monster Mini Golf, they're coming from all over the world, and they recognize me and know who I am. And it's really odd. That's strange,
Yeah.
But it's fun. But it's incredible, and it's awesome. And so Las Vegas is our home base, but we're starting to reach out now to different venues, different places, different states, and hopefully next year we'll put together a tour and see if we can get to meet more people out there.
That's great. It's almost like you must feel like a local celebrity, and that just shows all the hard work that you've put to doing what you do, and how dedicated you are to this. And it's really a great thing, because I've heard Las Vegas is become, really a great music scene there as far as, tribute bands and just music in general. I mean, a lot of the guys that were in these LA bands, like a lot of the guys from LA Guns and that I hear have moved out there to Las Vegas, and they're doing different things. Got some of the guys from Angel living out there now, I understand.
Correct. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. A lot of high talented people, LA musicians, are actually moving into Las Vegas because there's more opportunities, to be honest with you, to play and to get a band together with like-minded, top quality musicians, and that's exactly what's happening. And it's a great time to be here, to be honest with you. You have a conglomeration of huge musical talent, and the bands and different efforts they put together, different special projects they put together, it's just amazing. It's just fun. It's a fun place to be. And of course, me coming along as the Johnny Come Lately, didn't experience all those major thresholds that they have. I'm just thrown aback really by the fact that they recognize me who I am at times, and it's really fun. It's an amazing time. It's really a great place to be.
Yeah, and let me ask you, Louis, because it seems like you guys are the premier, Kiss tribute out there, especially in Vegas. Are there too many others out there? Or are you guys pretty much the best known Kiss tribute out there?
Well, we are the only real tribute band that's together and working out here in Las Vegas for sure.
Wow.
There have been 3 Kiss tribute bands here locally that I know of, us being the third.
Yeah.
One tribute band I had started when I first arrived here in Las Vegas, but I had to pull away from, and because of the creative differences. And so I started up Sin City Kiss, and there was another band that was trying to start up, and they didn't get much traction. And thankfully, because we were taking all the oxygen out of the room, which is a good thing. If you're striving to be the best of what you do, that's a good place to be. That's where you want to be. So we worked hard. We struggled and we worked hard and kept persevering. And we came out triumphant on the other side as being the only standing Kiss tribute band here in Las Vegas.
Well,
that's fortunate.
I mean, that speaks volumes right there. The fact that you guys are kind of the originators and you're one still standing there, and others have come and gone. So I think the people in Las Vegas have spoke. They want their Sin City Kiss. So that's a great thing. Now, you and I have a mutual friend in Raleigh DeVore. Is he still playing in Sin City Kiss these days? Yeah, and I mean, he's just
yes, great guy.
He's just a huge talent. I was gonna say he's just a huge talent when you consider. I mean, he does Peter Criss. Obviously in Sin City Kiss. He's involved with another Kiss tribute out here in L.A. He does Keith Moon and a Who tribute. I mean, and if you look at when he dresses up like as Keith Moon or Peter Criss, I mean, both totally different types of drummers. The looks totally different, but he's got the look and he's got the part of both guys down. It's amazing.
Yes, it really is. He's so versatile. He's so steady and so good. And he's vocally talented too. So he's just a major talent. And we were lucky to find him. We were in search of a Peter Criss, and he was in LA. Of course, he was in the LA area. And I gave him a call and I said, "We have a real need. Would you like to join us and be part of our band and partake in the festivities?" And he said, "Sure, absolutely." Well, we got to know him, and he's just a great guy, mellow guy, really cool, and huge talent. We're lucky to have him, and we have him as our alternate right now, because we have a local guy here his name is Paul Piedella, and he's our local Peter Criss, and he has been with us for about as long as Raleigh has.
Wow.
And so we trade off each player as we need to. Carrying on a Kiss tribute band, when you try to work as much as you can, it's best to have a great relationship with a lot of different cast members, alternates, as many as you can have. And it's not easy. That's not easy because you're dealing with human beings. You're dealing with people's sensitivities, sometimes their egos and their schedules and flexibilities and so forth. So it's tough. It really is. But as the ringleader since the Kiss, I knew the idea was to really develop a relationship with different people and keep on a good rapport, good honest rapport, and see about having alternates as you need them in order to work as much as you can. And we're real fortunate to have a great relationship with Raleigh. And of course, he plays whenever he can and whenever the opportunity makes most sense for him to come out. have him be the guy, the Peter Criss there in L.A.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we're going out to Miami to play the Kiss Cruise play party again this year, like we did last year, and Rodney will be our drummer there. And so it's a great time. It's just it's good. And for me, the understanding for a Kiss tribute band or Kiss tribute impersonators is to be as nice and as cordial and as fair and as honest as you can be with every impersonator out there and other bands, and supportive, and to the point where it really has paid off. I get called to play another Kiss tribute band when they're down the gene, or they have a scheduling problem, or somebody's sick, and that's real fortunate and really, really nice, and it's a fun place to be. It's a good place to be, and I enjoy it.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why you and especially Sin City Kiss are so popular is I think you guys are really smart in the fact I see that you actually have gone to the length of merchandising Sin City Kiss. I mean, I see you got fire hats, I see you got a Sin City Kiss necklace that you sell, was that something that's very hard for you guys to decide to do? Because a lot of tribute bands are like, we think that's taking it too far. But I think it's very smart on your part, but you guys, have actual merchandise to help promote the band.
Yeah, it did take a long time to wrap our minds around what we can do, legally, what is permissible, and what Kiss would cease and desist us on. You have to. There's a fine line. You're emulating Kiss, so you can't sell their likeness or their logos, And so, what do you do now? Well, you got to kind of find a way to make it work and still be known as who you are. That's why a lot of Kiss tribute bands, they call themselves Mr. Speed. They title their band after another Kiss song or album, And what I wanted to stay with, the idea was that we are a Kiss tribute band here in Las Vegas. Sin City Kiss made the most sense. Well, it's difficult now because if you want to try to trademark or patent your logo, it's a difficult uphill climb. And you can't really put your likeness, which is not your likeness, it's Kiss's likeness on any merchandise. So you got to be creative and try to figure out a way to get your band recognized and known, and have people who are true fans and friends purchase something that they enjoy and want to have, a piece of your band. And so we've done our best to try to walk straight and narrow and still provide some merchandise that our fans can obtain and enjoy, because they want to take a piece at home, and that's real fun. That's honoring, So we do the best we can to keep on the up and up and still make it fun, still make it neat.
Yeah. Let me ask you: would you ever be able to put out like a either a CD of like where you guys go in the studio and do a record of Kiss covers, or even like record one of your performances for a live DVD or something like that? Because again, you're not trying to say this is Kiss product. You'd probably be saying Sin City Kiss tribute band, but would you be able to do anything like that, or is that kind of taking a little too far, you think?
I think it's probably taken a little bit too far, and the conversations that have been bantered about for years is whether or not you can legally.
Yeah.
So there's been information that's traveled down to give you a bit of a guideline of what you can and cannot do legally. What you can say, this is your band doing these Kiss songs, and making it known that you're a Kiss tribute band. You can, as long as, say, for instance, Kiss doesn't get upset. As long as Gene and Paul don't get upset, because the second that happens, here come letters, and you've got to stop it and regroup and rethink what you can do. So, I think for most anybody, what they do in the tribute world is go to the studio and lay down some tracks as best they can to sound just like Kiss. And of course, we've done that too. And so that we can use it as promotional items to boot the band with, and that's about all you can hope to gain from that. I wouldn't venture out into selling a DVD or some audio product, and I don't think it'd be worth the headache if I ever came back to need a headache. It's fun to do, and of course with the advent of everybody's smartphones and videos and YouTube, at almost every performance there are at least 5 or 6 videos that come out of different songs that we perform. So it's almost like almost like we're putting it out there.
Yeah.
The only difference is we're not collecting royalties.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess the other way you could go legally would be like to pay a licensing fee, but again, then you know that's taken away from some of the band's profit, I guess. As far as Sin City Kiss, so I don't know how much sense that would make. But as far as these weddings you perform, I guess at the Kiss Mini Golf, how did you guys get the idea to do that? Because I was reading on your webpage that you're actually an ordained minister. So is that something you did you become a minister after you started doing this and was approached about doing these weddings, or had you already been a minister at the time when they approached you about doing these weddings?
Well, in Las Vegas, you can be ordained by submitting all the paperwork and going through the background checks. You can be an ordained minister or reverend or whatever title you want to present yourself.
Yeah.
That's what can happen here in Las Vegas, and it's a process because they don't just want anybody coming on
and
having a license to perform weddings. It's kind of regulated here in Las Vegas, as you can imagine. So through my life, I have had a Christian background, and then I was always involved with music. I was a worship team member, then a worship leader for a number of years before I ever put on the makeup again as what I'm doing now. So when I came into town, I had entertained the idea of doing some rock and roll weddings, and because we have an Elvis, you got everything else. Performing weddings, so I thought, well, why not? It's Gene Simmons, and I was approached actually by the Kiss Monster Mini Golf owners, Christina and Patrick Vitigliano, and they had mentioned to me that, and of course I heard wind of this, that they were opening up a mini golf, a Kiss mini golf, and that they were going to have weddings there. And they asked me if I would entertain the idea of doing weddings. And of course I said, absolutely. So it just evolved into being able to do a day at the Kiss mini golf. I've been doing it since they opened up. It's been just fantastic ordeal. It's been a fantastic experience.
And so, like, what's a typical wedding like? I mean, is there Kiss music played in the background, or is it kind of just depend on what the couple getting married? Do they get to pick what how they want the wedding, or do you guys have different things to offer them?
Yeah, right. At this point, I would pitch the Kiss Monster Mini Golf website and let you know that there are different wedding packages that people can choose from.
Yeah.
And what that is they are able to, the customer's able to pick a package, and it expands their experience of their Kiss experience, what level of Kiss experience they want here at the Kiss Monster Mini Golf. And so typically they get to pick whatever song that they want to walk in on and walk out with, and that's really cool because they pick some really obscure stuff sometimes. It's really fun. And so we, myself and my Paul Stanley from Sin City Kiss, Steve Mitchell, he does the Paul Stanley weddings, and I do the Gene Simmons weddings at the Kiss Mini Golf, and it's just a riot. It's a fun time, and people that love it, they have that experience and they love it. And so what I've been able to do too is perform weddings at the Las Vegas Fine, for instance.
Wow.
Different places, different casinos around the city, and it just expands everything. And of course, now we can always pitch the Kiss limousine, which people have taken advantage of. They arrive in a Kiss limousine into the Kiss Mini Golf or the Las Vegas Fine and have a ceremony performed by Las Vegas Gene Simmons or Chip and Paul. Kiss characters, and it's just a riot. It's fun. It can only happen properly here in Vegas. Which is fantastic.
Yeah, I'd imagine too, like, it must be a cool thing when, they look back and, must be having people take photos, for these people at their weddings, and it must be a cool thing to have a photo of Las Vegas Gene Simmons in there. I mean, it's not your typical wedding photo, but, like, for a Kiss fan, like, how cool is that?
Exactly. For a Kiss fan, it's fantastic. Like I said, people who are Kiss fans come in from all over the world.
Yeah.
I perform ceremonies for people from Belgium, from Germany, from Australia, from London. I mean, just all over the world, and they're having the time of their life. It's all Kiss all the time. It's just fun. It's just a golden opportunity.
And let me ask you, Louis, I was kind of interested when you were mentioning, becoming a minister and that, and you're saying that you come from a Christian background. when you first started putting on the makeup and portraying Gene Simmons, did you get any backlash at all from any of the people in your church? Because he's often referred to as a demon, the devil, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, right. The demon and Knights and Satan service.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I wrestled with that in my youth growing up, and that was the big deal, if you recall that. The Satan service is Kiss.
I remember, yeah.
You can't be talking about my band.
Yeah.
And so I wrestled with it back then as well, and of course I didn't jump on the bandwagon because I thought, I think you're stepping over the edge here.
Yeah.
So in essence, I didn't, and I've been fortunate enough to be associated with churches that are a little more progressive and open-minded to understand that, hey, that's just music. That's just what they're doing for business. And of course, if someone's going down the tubes in their lifestyle in a band, that's going to be telling, and that's just what they're going through. It doesn't reflect on your Christianity or anything of that nature. So that's something that everyone has to deal with. And I didn't get wrapped up in it, and I didn't get much backlash at all, because I was always interested in music. And luckily, being a person who's musically inclined, people look at you and think, oh, there's your influence. Okay, so that's, they accept that and understand that. And I tell them, hey, my influences were Jimmy Page, before there ever was a Kiss, and the Beatles before there ever was a Jimmy Page.
Yeah.
It's just music, and music is the common denominator that helps everything work out okay. In my book.
Yeah, and to me, just talking to you, how cool is it for you that, you grew up on this Kiss music, and it kind of inspired you to do what you're doing now, and it's totally amazes me to think that you could actually make a living at this. But that shows me too how good you are at what you do, because that's why I love bands like Sin City Kiss, because it's more than just four guys getting up on stage in their jeans and t-shirt and giving us an evening of Kiss music. I mean, even seeing the real Kiss himself, I think 90% of the audience would rather see Kiss in makeup than Kiss without. I mean, I've seen them in both forms, but it's a much more spectacular show. So I think it's kind of cool that you start out as a Kiss fan, you're a guy that was in the audience, and now you've kind of jumped up on the stage and you're still playing the music and keeping the legacy alive.
It's an amazing thing, and it blows my mind when I sit back and think about it. How fortunate am I? How cool is that?
Yeah.
How fun is that? And it's just an awesome time. And like I always say in my weddings, that's why it's good to be me.
Yeah.
It's just fun. And of course, I come from a background. I'm an electrician by trade, and a journeyman electrician, and I was an electrical contractor in California for 11 years.
Wow.
So I know the business world. I know the hustle and bustle, the worry, and the stress of maintaining a business. I had 22 guys working for me at one time.
Wow.
Trucks, So I know that whole world too. Yeah. So approaching Sin City Kiss with that mindset of, hey, it's strategic to survive and be successful, and we'll apply the business strategy to this project called Sin City Kiss, and I'll bet you we'll make it work. That's just what we do. So having that mindset, it really gives you a firm foundation to build on and to have fun with.
Yeah, and it's obviously working. I could talk to you all night, but we're going to kind of wrap it up. Before I do, I just want to ask you a couple more questions. Now, we were talking earlier about the fact that Kiss Alive 1 is your very favorite Kiss album of all time. Now, I was kind of curious because since it was officially released in 1975, all those years ago, it's come out a couple of years ago. I think on VH1 they had a special about the Kiss Alive 1 album, and they're talking about how they went into the studio and kind of retweaked some of the stuff, and there's been a bit of a controversy over that. So I kind of wanted to get your opinion on that.
Right, I tell you what, I didn't know this until the word came out, publicly announced, and I was really surprised. I was really taken aback by it. But as I really started thinking about it, I was thinking, well, of course that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense because if you look at some of the older videos now that you can on YouTube, you see that stuff is pretty raw and pretty harsh sounding, especially in the early days with Paul running around as much as he did.
Yeah.
To be able to have a singing voice that came out on the Live One be that good, it didn't match up. Now you can understand it, but I really was surprised by learning the news. I really was.
I mean, I was surprised too, but this is my response to that. As a fan, I've always loved the album because, probably like you, when I heard that album for the very first time, it was so good. It's almost like I felt like I was at the concert just listening to it. It was so good. It made me like, man, I want to go see that band in concert. They're that good. And so I say, okay, even if it's studio trickery or they went and tweaked a lot of the stuff to make it sound better, okay, that again, that just shows me how amazing is technology that you can make it sound that good. I mean, even the roar of a crowd, sounds like you're right there in the audience, when you're listening to it. So if that's studio trickery, whatever, to me it still works. They sold the product. They sold me what they were trying to sell. So, if my ears were fooled, it's still a good album to me.
Well, that's true. If the goal of putting an album together is to put together your best product, then and I didn't really mind it. It took me by surprise, but at the end of the day, I didn't mind it at all.
And now let me ask you, comparing Kiss Alive 1 and Kiss Alive 2, would you say Kiss Alive 1 is still your favorite? Because I understand part of the reason they recorded those four studio tracks for Kiss Alive 2 was at the time, in 1977 when Kiss Alive 2 was recorded, they were still playing a lot of stuff from the first 3 albums, and so they had to kind of record those extra tunes because otherwise they wouldn't be able to fill up, 2 albums worth of material.
Right.
Yeah.
I tell you what, I liked I still like Kiss Alive 1 over Kiss Alive 2. A couple of songs on Kiss Alive 2 were faster, and I don't think I appreciated that,
Yeah.
And I don't know, but there are some aspects of Kiss Alive 2 that some of the songs that I like, and I'm glad that they're there.
Yeah.
I think as a whole, I would take Kiss Alive 1.
Yeah, my last question is this, in regards to Kiss Alive 2, with the exception of Rocket Ride, another secret came out a couple of years back was actually Bob Kulick that played on, the other studio tracks. How surprised were you to learn that?
I was surprised by it, but then again, I wasn't surprised by it. You have the whole persona, of course, of Ace being this rock and roll party animal, and then really knowing along the way that Ace is becoming a problem.
Yeah.
That you got to clue a little bit along the way that was that really Ace? You really questioned it. So I wasn't that surprised. And what's cool about that story that you just mentioned is that when we had a residency a couple years back at Fort Queens, we had Bob thrown in and played with us at Fort Queens, and we of course did Larger Than Life and All American Man, and he was phenomenal. And we have some great video on our webpage if you want to take a look at that. It's just fun.
Yeah, it
was surreal for me, and for us in the band, we were just blown away. Accepting the fact that there's Bob Kulick right there. He played on the albums, and here he is playing with us. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And so we had the best time with Bob, and had a fun experience. And it pulled it all together for us. It just made Kiss more real.
Yeah, I met Bob a few times, and the few times I met him, in person, he was a totally cool, down-to-earth guy, and I think it's great the success he's had as a record producer. He's the king of these tribute albums, but he's great at what he does, and as a performer and a guitar player, I think he's really underrated. But I think the cool thing about the fact that he appeared on not just Kiss Alive 2, but all those other songs he recorded with Kiss over the years is the fact that, for a Kiss fan at the time, I think it's cool that even Gene and Paul back in the day, they were so into selling what they were selling. They say what they want about Peter and Ace now, but from what I understand, even though Peter didn't play on most of Dynasty, they wanted everybody at the time to think that it was the original band. They didn't want anybody knowing at the time that it was Anton Fig playing, on those tracks. So still as a Kiss fan, I think that was a cool thing. They were trying to, at the time, make it like everybody was still as big of a part of Kiss as ever. So even though all this stuff has come out years later, I think it's a cool thing that they were trying to, keep all the stuff that Ace and Peter were going through at the time kind of under wraps. And then it's kind of interesting to learn all this stuff years later.
It really is. I agree with you. And of course, all these books that have come out that each person has put out, it's wild to get a whole big picture view, and of course from their perspectives,
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. It's interesting time. Of course, what are we talking about? We're talking about 40, 45 years.
Yeah.
That this has been going on, that Kiss has been going on, and so you've got so much history there, so much to look back on, and and ponder where you were when these things were happening,
Yeah,
it's wild.
And let me ask you, Louis, did you happen to get the latest greatest hits album they put out, Kiss 40? Because it's got a great track on there called Reputation that's previously unreleased. I was wondering if you had a chance to hear that and what your thoughts on that song are.
In fact, I have not heard that.
It's kind of got like a radioactive vibe to it, but it's kind of a cool little thing. Once again, Louis, it's been great talking to you. I could talk to you all night, but I know you're a very busy guy. It's getting kind of late. It's 8 o'clock here as we speak, so I'm going to let you go. And we'll have to do this again down the line. I'm trying not to wait another 2 years, but I've really enjoyed doing this. And the interview itself will be going up probably about a week or two. I'll let you know the minute it goes up.
Jason, I appreciate you, and I appreciate the interview. Thank you very much.
Okay, take care, my friend. I'll be in touch. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.